cover it as best we can, at least by hearing, we'll benefit. And we can try to understand as far as our limited capabilities will allow.
Recording in progress.
Okay. And so, we usually start with kirtan, and we could have kirtan till about, for about 5 minutes or so. And who's leading kirtan today? Yeah. Only Mahamantra, only one tune, no jais, no anything else, Mahamantra only.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacarya Stotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kunikidi Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Jamanamai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for leading the kirtan, and to everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. In New York, it is Friday, December 9th, 2022. We're reading from the third canto, 11th chapter, Calculation of Time from the Atom. We're starting tonight with text number 7. And thank you for joining us from somewhere in Nepal, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Kathmandu, ISKCON Kathmandu, are very substantial temple with, how many devotees are in the room? How many devotees are in the room, would you say? About 50, huh? 100, okay. And more online. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Nimeṣas tri-lavo āmnātas te trayaḥ kṣaṇaḥ pañca viduḥ kṣaṇān laghu daśa pañca. The duration of time of 3 lavas is equal to 1 nimeṣa. The combination of 3 nimeṣas makes 1 kṣaṇa. 5 kṣanas combined together make 1 kāṣṭhā, and 15 kāṣṭhās make 1 laghu. Purport. By calculation, it is found that 1 laghu is equal to 2 minutes. The atomic calculation of time, in terms of Vedic wisdom, may be converted into present time with this understanding. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakota Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamanang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lolita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this calculation of time has begun from Paramanu, the smallest atom, and it's building up larger units, larger units, larger units. So we've come to the laghu, and then the lavas, and then up to the laghu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And we can continue. Laghuni vai Laghuni vai āmnātaḥ daśa pañca janādika te dve muhurta prahara shadhyama saptavaranam. 15 laghus make one nadika, which is also called a danda. 2 dandas make one muhurta, and 6 or 7 dandas make 1/4 of a day or night, according to human calculation. From the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also, it appears that 6 or 7 nadikas make a prahara or a yama. Day and night are divided into 4 parts. When the day or night is short, there are 6 nadikas in a prahara. When the day or night is long, 7 nadikas. Dvadashartha palonmanam chaturbis chaturangulaihi swarnamashai gritach chidram yavat prastha jala plutam. The measuring pot for 1 nadika or danda can be prepared with a 6 pala weight, 14-ounce pot of copper, in which a hole is bored with a gold probe weighing 4 masha and measuring 4 fingers long. When the pot is placed on water, the time before the water overflows in the pot is called 1 danda. Purport: it is advised herein that the bore in the copper measuring pot must be made with a probe weighing not more than 4 masha and measuring not longer than 4 fingers. This regulates the diameter of the hole. The pot is submerged in water, and the overflooding time is called a danda. This is another way of measuring the duration of a danda, just as time is measured by sand in a glass. It appears that in the days of Vedic civilization, there was no dearth of knowledge in physics, chemistry, or higher mathematics. Measurements were calculated in different ways, as simply as could be done. So the idea here is that there are different ways of measuring time. We measure by a sundial, we measure by a an hourglass with sand cascading down. And here's another way of measuring. You take a pot and you make a hole in the pot and you put it in water. And now the water is going to come through the hole, and by the time the pot fills, okay, you've measured an element of a unit of time. So this is the way given. Just like sometimes you might measure time by rounds. I know if I've chanted 4 rounds, then I've taken a half hour. If I'm walking and I'm chanting rounds, if I've chanted 4 rounds, then I've taken half an hour's walk. So there are different ways of measuring time, and here in the Bhagavatam, another way is given. Yamas chatvaras chatvaro martyanam ahani ubhe paksha pancha dashahani shukla krishnas chamanada. It is calculated that there are 4 praharas, which are also called yamas, in the day, and 4 in the night of the human being. So a day consists of 4 yamas, and the night another 4 yamas. Similarly, 15 days and nights are a fortnight, and there are 2 fortnights, white and black, in a month. The white and black fortnights are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Shukla Krishna Gati Hyete. What is that? Jagate Mate. Shukla Krishna Gati Hyete. Jagata Shashvate Mate. In the 8th chapter at the end, there's a description of the time when the yogi is advised to leave his body in order to achieve success in the yoga system. If he leaves at one time, he attains success, and if he leaves at another time, he falls short, he fails. So one time of success is Shukla, the time of the waxing moon, and the failure is Krishna. Krishna means the black time, when the moon is waning or diminishing. So 15 days growing and 15 days diminishing for the moon. That's called Shukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha. Just our whole calendar is calculated that way. We have our months not according to the secular calendar, but according to the Vedic calendar. So the month begins with the first day. The moon is full, then gradually waning. Then halfway through the month, you get the dark moon, and then the month ends with the full moon. And we calculate the Ashtamis and the Ekadashis and the Trayodashis and so on by that calculation. So our calendar is always in sync with the moon. If it's the Gaur Purnima, then it's a full moon. If it's a Trayodashi, then you're 13 days in, either 13 days into the Krishna Paksha or into the Shukla Paksha. So it's always in sync with the calendar, with the moon. The secular calendar is not really in sync with anything, except that by the division of the months, it's in sync with the seasons. That's basically a solar calendar. Our calendar is lunar. So the lunar, each calendar has its own problems. The problem with the lunar calendar is that it gradually becomes more and more out of sync with the seasons, and so there's addition of Adhik Mas, and an extra month is inserted periodically, and that brings things back into sync. Okay, any questions so far? Yes?
Question about time. Time, we know to go in a circle or in line.
A question about time. Is time going in a circle, in a line?
Time is one of the material elements, and
I-
material element can transform.
Time is a material element, and it can transform.
And my question, we know in books and some movies about traveling in time. Is it possible, or it is only
Is it possible to travel in time the way we see in books and movies?
scientific fiction?
So there's three things there. One is about time being a straight line or a curve. The second one was... No, that's the third one. Time travel, and there was a second point. The material element, yeah. So as far as straight or curved, or straight or circular, these of course are concepts, time moving in a line. The time doesn't exactly move in spatial coordinates, although it's measured by the passing of the sun over a certain amount of space. Time itself is different from space. Time is different from space, and so it doesn't move in a straight line. It doesn't move in a circle. It has its own inconceivable nature. Now that said, we have ways to conceptualize time, and the Vedic conception is that time is circular. In the Christian conception, time moves in a straight line until you get to the end of time, the last days, and then there's whatever is supposed to happen, the end of time. But in the Vedic conception, time is circular. We have, of course, the years are circular, the days are circular. There's a day and then the next day and then the next day, moving, same pattern. The months the same way, the years the same way, the yugas the same way, and creation and destruction the same way. They're coming in a circular fashion. As far as time being an element, it's not exactly an element. The elements, as they're described in Bhagavatam, work under the jurisdiction of time. The time enters or comes in touch with material nature, and then material nature and its elements become active. So time is mysterious. Time is described as the impersonal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's not counted among, in the Sankhya philosophy, when the various elements are described, 26 elements, time is not listed among the material elements. Time is another feature. As far as traveling backward or forward in time, I haven't seen any reference to that in Vedic literature that I can remember. But there is the concept of time being relative, so that, for example, one king, who is that? Jayadvaita was looking, Kudme, thank you, was looking for a daughter for his wife, and looking for a husband for his daughter. And he went where? To Brahma's planet. And by the time he got back, everybody was gone. Or even it was told to him that anyone you might have thought of back there, they're all gone. Because time is variable. We see also that Lord Brahma stole the cows and cowherd boys and then came back one moment later. But his one moment was a full year on earth. So time is conceived, not only conceived, it is relative. Time is moves at a different pace in different places. So that's described, but I haven't seen anything about time travel. Now, I have a comment online. Meena Devi asks, is it that time doesn't actually move at all, but it is everything else moving, like seeing the moon through the branches of a tree? It looks like the moon is moving, but really everything else is moving. Well, again, time is not spatial. Time is not spatial. You know, a car moves. It starts here and it goes there. So many things, everything moving in the world moves from one physical location to another. But time doesn't do that. Time's already everywhere. Time exists throughout the material world. So it doesn't move from here to there. It's already everywhere. It's not it's beyond or different from spatial manifestations. It's measured in terms of movement. The time that it takes the sun to move in a complete orbit and come back to where it started from is 1 year of time. And things happen within that time. So time is real. Time is identified with death. After a certain amount of time, everyone dies. Things deteriorate in time, or things grow within time. So time is real. Time is all-pervading. It's everywhere in space. But it's not physically moving. It's not physically moving the way an object moves from one location to another. But it moves everything else that moves. I hope that covers the territory. Yes.
So generally we listen that the time in this material world, it is perishable. It's going to destruct after some time. But
After some time, everything in the world will be destroyed, yes.
But the time in the spiritual world is unlimited time.
But time in the spiritual world is unlimited, yes.
How the pastime in the spiritual world occur? Because
How do pastimes in the spiritual world occur? You won't figure it out.
there is a night of Krishna.
There's night, there's day, there's lunchtime.
But Krishna says in Gita, Nattat Bhasati Surya, there's no need of light. So how night occurs?
There's no need of light. How does night occur? Nimeshardhakyo va vrajati nahi yatrapi samaya. In the Brahma Samhita it's said that not even a half a moment elapses in the spiritual world. Not even half a moment passes. So there's no time, or taken another way, time is eternal in the spiritual world. Each moment lasts forever. That's different from our experience here. This Mangal Arati time is now gone. Bhagavatam class has been adjusted, but it's going on for some time. Then that time will be over. It'll be time for our afternoon program, time for Sandhyarti, time to take rest. And once time is gone, it can't be retrieved. Therefore, Prabhupada always used to quote Chanakya Pandit, that even one moment lost can't be regained by expenditure of any amount of gold. So how valuable time is. In the spiritual world, this elapsing of time doesn't take place. And yet, there's sequence, something happens, something else happens, then something else happens, something else happens. There's day, there's night. These things were all arranged by Krishna's internal energy in the spiritual world, which is so different from the way things are arranged here that we're not going to understand it. You know, like an ant trying to understand the city of Kathmandu. You can try to explain it to him, but he's not going to understand. Or the frog trying to understand the Indian Ocean, he's not going to understand it. So we can just hear about it and appreciate it, but we won't be able to figure it out. If you want to understand it fully, you have to go. Our material desire is not finished every yuga. We're taking birth again and again. Yes. There's a question though, you said. Why?
We are taking birth again and
I got that.
but our desire is not being finished.
I got that.
It's increasing. Why? Why it's happening?
Why is our desire increasing? Because we want it to be. It's up to us. If you desire to enjoy the material world, then that desire will go on and on. But if you take some process to change your desire, then that desire can be finished. Just as disease may go on and on, but if you take proper diet, proper medicine, then the disease can be over. So this material desire, let me enjoy, this is our material disease, and it's been going on since time immemorial. But by the spiritual process of Krishna consciousness, that desire can be changed. We don't expect to stop desire, but we can change our desire from enjoyer, the desire to be the enjoyer, to the desire to serve the enjoyer. Is that all right? Okay. There's another question here. Yeah. Meena Devi says, looking at the word when, the word when implies time for something. Time for something. In the spiritual world, when depends on Krishna's desire. When Krishna desires something, that's the time. Yes. Okay. Shall we continue? Another question.
So I heard about from the Vedas, like higher worlds, higher forms like moon and sun. The goddess, so here going 1 year, and the moon going just 1 day. Is it?
You heard that the sun and moon, according to the Vedic literature, their orbits last a different amount of time.
Yeah. For example, in the Earth, it's going 360 days, and the moon just 1 day.
Yeah, the 360 days here are a year, and the year is different on the moon. Yes, we'll hear about that in the coming verses.
Yeah, and my question is about the down worlds.
About the down worlds,
For example, is it the same? For example, in the Earth, just 1 day, and the down worlds can go in 1 year. Is it?
the calculation for the lower planets you're asking about. I think that may be discussed in a coming verse also. I'm not quite sure. We'll see. Thank you. Tayo samuchayo masaha pitrinam tadaharnisham dvautav ritu sadayanam dakshinam chotaram divi. Well, we're about to hear about time on the Pitri-loka, which is below. The aggregate of 2 fortnights is 1 month, and that period is 1 complete day and night for the Pitta planets. So our 1 month equals their 1 day and night. That's the relative relationship. What's 1 day and night for them is a whole month for us. 2 of such months comprise 1 season, and 6 months comprise 1 complete movement of the sun from south to north. So the sun has 2 parts to its orbit, Uttarayanam and Dakshinayanam. The Uttarayana is the northern course, Dakshinayana is the southern course of the sun. Ayane cha hani prahur vatsaro dvadasha smritaha sangvatsara shatam nrinam paramayur nirupitam. 2 solar movements make 1 day and night of the demigods. So this solar movement means 6 months, either Uttarayana or Dakshinayana. So the 2 solar movements, the 2 ayanas, the 2 periods of 6 months, make 1 year for us, and 1 day and night of the demigods. So our 1 year equals their 1 24-hour day. That combination of day and night is 1 complete calendar year for the human being. The human being has a duration of life of 100 years. Now there's more. Praveen has a comment, but it doesn't really answer the question asked, so I'm going to skip it. Saraswati. Many times I hear that For some people, they are knowingly on a self-destructive path because they cannot muster enough discipline to control their material desires, even though they know in theory the outcome of their actions is hurting spiritual progress. How can they get more discipline, kill material desires, and turn away from the path of self-destruction? Chant Hare Krishna. That's the most effective means for changing our material desires, getting free from self-destruction, and so on. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By the way, I realized that our time, our New York class time and Kathmandu class time are not lined up, and that your class is shorter. So those who need to leave for some purpose, please feel free. Graharksha Tara Chakrastha Paramanvadina Jagat Sangvatsara Vasanena Paryet Yan Nimeṣo Viduḥ. Influential stars, planets, luminaries, and atoms all over the universe are rotating in their respective orbits under the direction of the Supreme, represented by eternal Kala. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the sun is the eye of the Supreme, and it rotates in its particular orbit of time. Similarly, beginning from the sun down to the atom, all bodies are under the influence of the Kala Chakra, or the orbit of eternal time, and each of them has a scheduled orbital time of 1 Samvatsara. The planets are moving at different speeds. And they have different years calculated accordingly. We'll hear about that in coming verses. But here we hear about the rikshas, the various luminaries, grahas, planets, taras, stars, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the constellations such as Ashwini and the stars and the other constellations are not included in the 27 constellations. The sun is situated with them. Let's see, the sun is situated in the circle of the planets such as the moon, the constellations such as Ashwini and the stars meaning the other constellations, not included in the list of 27 constellations. It was posted online here that in the lower planets there's no sunshine, and therefore the day and night as we know them don't exist there. So that's some additional information.
Only night. Only night.
Only night, yes. And Kendra. Okay, that's posting what we have here. Sangvatsara parivatsara ira vatsara evacha anuvatsara vatsarascha viduraivam prapasyate. There are 5 different names for the orbits of the sun, moon, stars, and luminaries in the firmament. And they each have their own samvatsara. Purport. The subject matters of physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, time, and space dealt with in the above verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are certainly very interesting to students of the particular subject. But as far as we are concerned, we cannot explain them very thoroughly in terms of technical knowledge. The subject is summarized by the statement that above all the different branches of knowledge is the supreme control of Kala, the plenary representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing exists without Him, and therefore, everything, however wonderful it may appear to our meager knowledge, is but the work of the magical wand of the Supreme Lord. Well, this is the conclusion, this is the takeaway, as they say, that to understand all the intricacies of time described here will be quite a challenge. It gets technical. On our Zoom calls, we often have a physicist devotee with us, and he was explaining in our last meeting that even the scientists are arguing about such questions as the ones raised here. So it will be difficult to understand. We won't understand it fully. But we can understand that Krishna, as time, controls everything. That's the final conclusion. No one can escape time. We asked about time travel. Even if you're able to, supposedly, to travel in time, you don't have free movement. It's not that I could say, well, I'm just going to travel outside of time and I won't die. I won't be subject to all the limitations that I'm faced with now because time won't affect me. I don't have to be under time. The rest of you guys, you can be under time. I'm not going to be limited by time. No. Time is absolutely powerful. No one can overstep time. Even the planets. Yes, yajñeya brahmati sambrita kala chakra. The sun moves in its prescribed orbit under the order of Govinda, Krishna. The sun can't say, I've been traveling at this speed for so many years. Yeah, I'm tired. I want I could take a day off or maybe go a little slower this year. Getting old. No. The sun moves exactly in its orbit, in its prescribed time, according to the order of Govinda. And everyone else is also subject to the laws of time. We have this human life for a certain amount of time, and when it's over, then dehantara prapti, we have to go to the next body. So, therefore Chanakya says that if time is wasted, how much money we've lost. Everyone's very careful not to lose money. We go online and we compare prices, we don't want to lose money. A few rupees difference. But if we waste time, we've wasted so much money. Even a moment can't be purchased back. for any amount. So everything exists under the rule of time. The orbits mentioned here are different different vatsaras. Vatsaras are circumambulations, orbits. So there's samvatsara, the orbit of the sun, and parivatsara, the orbit of Brihaspati, Jupiter. Ira Vatsara, the orbit of the stars. Anuvatsara, the orbit of the moon. And Vatsara, 1 calendar year, Prabhupada says. So they each have their own unit of time, their own prescribed, you could measure even time by lunar time or Brihaspati time, but we go by solar time. As far as time is concerned, we beg to subjoin here with a table of timings in terms of the modern clock. And here Prabhupada's going to explain the units or give equivalents for the units mentioned so far in the chapter. 1 Shruti equals 8 over 13,500ths of a second. 1 Veda, 8 over 135 seconds. 1 Lava, 8 over 45. 1 nimeṣa, 8 over 15. 1 kṣaṇa, 8/5 of a second. 1 kāṣṭhā, 8 seconds. 1 laghu, 2 minutes. 1 danda, 30 minutes. 1 prahara, 3 hours. 1 day, 12 hours. 1 night, 12 hours. 1 pañca, 15 days. 2 pañcas comprise 1 month, and 12 months comprise 1 calendar year, or 1 full orbit of the sun. A human being is expected to live up to 100 years. That is the way of the controlling measure of eternal time. The Brahma Samhita affirms this control in this way. Yachchakshuresha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurtira shesha teja yas yagnaya brahmati sambrata kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamahang bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. The sun is the king of all planetary systems and has unlimited potency in heat and light. Yasridja shaktim urudhojvasayan swasraktya pungso brahmaya divibdhavati bhuta bhedaha kalakyaya gunamayam kratubhir vitanvangs tasmai balim haratavatsara panchakaya. O Vidura, the sun enlivens all living entities with his unlimited heat and light. He diminishes the duration of life of all living entities in order to release them from their illusion of material attachment. And he enlarges the path of elevation through the heavenly kingdom. He thus moves in the firmament with great velocity, and therefore everyone should offer him respects once every 5 years with all ingredients of worship. So, the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions the why is the sun moving in the sky? It's increasing the results of sacrifices by which one reaches Svargaloka, and confuses people. People are involved in all these sacrifices to go to Svarga. Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitaha. And they're very much involved with the correct time for the sacrifice, everything at exactly the right time. In any case, the sun is powerful, and one is advised, therefore, to worship the sun or offer respects to the sun every 5 years. Nina posted something above the verse text. Okay. How do time and the 3 modes of nature work together? Create, maintain, and destroy. What's going on a universal scale and a minute scale? Are the 3 modes also ruled by time? Yes, we read earlier, and several times actually, that time activates the modes of nature. The material nature in the inactive state is called pradhan, and it's just the sum total of the material elements. But it doesn't do anything, it's not active. But when the Supreme Personality of Godhead glances over material nature, or sends his glance in the form of time, then material nature takes on its active state called prakriti, and that's when the modes of nature become active. So the modes of nature act within time. Everything, all the material energy, the entire material energy works within time. It's created at a certain time, it's destroyed at a certain time. The modes of nature may be eternal or existing without limit, but they're only manifest for some time. Without time, they don't do anything. And Prabhupada gave the example, you have a pot with water in it, and you have a fire underneath it. So you expect it to boil, but it doesn't boil unless there's time. So everything requires time, which is ultimately the impersonal form of the Supreme Personality of God. So everything and everyone is under the control of Krishna. So we've come to the end of our time. You have another question, but we've come to the end of our time. You also have a question, but we've come to the end of our time. This is what time does. At the time of death, we may still have so many questions, but finally time says, all right, we're pulling the plug. So if you still have questions, you can hold them for tomorrow. We'll come back and we'll be available for, And let's see, today is Saturday. which means it's Friday. Okay, tomorrow we're actually back to your schedule here in Kathmandu, because tomorrow will be Saturday in New York, and we don't have classes on Saturday and Sunday. So it's only today that I'm messing up your schedule here in Kathmandu. But still, if you have questions about time, we can make time for them tomorrow. And shall we have some kirtan? Another 5 minutes? And we'll just continue the kirtan and without a sort of formally ending the class online, we'll just continue and you can all drop out in due time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.